We have a lot to go over today. Hey everybody, Mr. Eric Jenkins coming at you with a brand new video, and today we have a lot of movie pickups to go over from the last 4 or 5 months or so. It's been a while since I made a video, so if you are new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. If you are an old subscriber, thank you for stopping by again, and welcome back. I really do appreciate it. It's been a minute since I made a video, and to be honest, I've been going through a lot of stuff mentally with my mental health and jobs and stuff like that. So right now I'm on a good, smooth surface, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff that I've been picking up during, the past few months. So let's get into it. So Halloween is just right around the corner. It's less than a month away. I can't believe I'm already saying that. And I have some good goodies for y'all today. I have a lot of horror VHS tapes that I picked up. Wow. I can't believe I'm saying that. Horror VHS tapes. So over the past 2 months or so, my sister location where I work in Bloomfield has been getting a lot of horror DVDs and VHS tapes. And me being a media collector at heart and loving that stuff, I, bought some. I didn't buy all of them. If I could, I would have. However, I've got a family. I've got bills to pay. I don't need to be buying all these VHS tapes, but I did buy some. And you guys are going to think, wow, this dude just said he's not going to buy all of them, and here he's going to show like 20 of them. Holy moly. There were a lot more, and there was some that I really, really wanted, but I had to pass on. So without further ado, let's get into it. And we're going to start off with one of my favorite sets that I've been collecting for the past 2 months, which has been Elvira tapes. These are all Thriller Video big box releases, which I'm very excited about. These are all these movies are either convention tapes. There's one convention tape, and the rest are X rentals. So they do have some really cool history behind them. They'll have like stickerware. They'll have like the horror sticker, Please Be Kind Rewind stickers, the location of the place. Love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. But let's get into it. We have first off Cyclops. Like I said, these are all Elvira tapes. I love watching Midnight Macabre stuff. Ever since I was a wee lad. I don't know why I was addicted to it. I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you why I really enjoyed. He's got a heart as big as my boom. Plus, I also loved Cassandra Peterson's humor as Elvira, and she was a great symbol for horror in general. So I'm stoked on it. We've got Jack Palance's Dracula. Children of the Full Moon. Visitor from the Grave. Guardian of the Abyss. The Monster Club. And a lot of these films are like public domain films, or like, they got the rights to do these. And then Picture of Dorian Gray. So a lot of these are like super cheesy. But they're fun. They're definitely a fun watch, and I enjoy watching some of that older stuff from back in the day. Next up are just some random VHS tapes that I've been getting from the same spot. Next up, and a lot of these are all blind buys, to be honest. Some of them I know about, some of them I don't, and the same goes with the media I'm going to be discussing later. Normally, I do a little bit of research and ask around, but with horror VHS tapes being expensive, Criterion's being expensive, and the deals that I was getting, I said, bring it on, baby. I'm rocking it. Let's go. We've got Dr. Butcher, MD. This looks awful, but I'm down for it. We've got, these are two cool ones. We have Blood Cult. This is actually a really important film when it comes to just movie making in general. This was the first horror film to be put on tape, aka like for home release only. Didn't get a theatrical release. It was shot on film and put directly into a distributor to be put out into rental stores. And it really shows, this movie looks really bad. However, it shows, if you've got a passion, you've got a dream, go for it. This person did. They literally quit their job. I believe they were a news anchor, and they got a bunch of people from the town that he lived in to help out with the film. Really, really cool. So, I'm gonna enjoy watching that one just for the guerrilla filmmaking aspect in general. Next up, we have I Dismember Mama. So a lot of these films, from what I'm understanding, are like mommy issue films. So like very similar to Psycho. They actually will say, Like, do you remember Psycho? Here's this film. And I always I've enjoyed the story of Psycho. I've enjoyed the true crime aspect with Ed Gein attached to it. But this film in general, I'm gonna put the trailer for it right here. It was a double featured trailer, and there's a man who. So basically, this is one of the cool things about like these types of horror films. They tried to get you into the movie theater, and it was all gimmick marketing, and they would either have you sign like a death insurance waiver, or if you died, you got a coffin. They'd give you like barf bags or another very inexpensive one. So they talked about the Upchuck Cup. However, one of the besides that, there was a person getting hauled off into an insane asylum, basically stating if you see this film, you'll get admitted. But after he interviews a couple people, the news anchor finds this very small, weaselly-looking man, and he does this noise that Eli Roth loves, and he talks about it in one of his interview videos about horror trailers. And I'm gonna play it. It's just too. It's too weird. Like, and he goes back inside to watch it. So that's the double feature for I Just Remember Mama. Kind of cool. Next up we have He Kills Night After Night After Night, the big box version. Don't know much about that. And then we have Manhattan Baby, also another one. Don't know much about it, but it's kind of like this weird, like, person goes to Egypt, and he loses his eyesight, and his daughter finds something at a market, like a medallion. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh, basically. He finds the Millennium Eye, he finds the Millennium Puzzle, Yu-Gi-Oh, they battle, Blue Eyes, White Dragon. Next up are two very common titles when it comes to the exploitation grindhouse circle that have also probably hopped into the normal person's cultural zeitgeist. We have Russ Meyer's Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, which, for those who don't know, Russ Meyer used a lot of wonderful actors and actresses and wonderful costumes and great, the dress on it was beautiful and blah, blah. No, he made smut. He made smut films, and these are really, really fun to watch just because I'm like, how did you make this? But this is his crown jewel, Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. Has a group of go-go dancers that beat the shit out of people, that do people wrong, and it's a woman empowerment film, to be honest, and it's really, really cool. And I always love clamshells. I'm a sucker for clamshells, so didn't have this on any format in my collection, which was weird, because I've known about this film since I was like 16, 17 years old. So decided to grab it. And then one that I've been familiar with since I was, I got into the exploitation and grindhouse circle is Pieces. This is about a film about a young boy who gets institutionalized for killing his mother, gets out and starts killing again, but nobody knows why he's killing, because his identity is secret, and you're putting the pieces of the puzzle to figure out who's murdering him. It's fun. It's a fun time. But really, really interesting film if you like really over-the-top gory slashers. And then during that same time, I went to the Connecticut Horror Convention, or Connecticut Horror Con in Naugatuck, Connecticut, and was able to go and grab a couple pieces of media from the Archives, which is out of Bridgeport, as well as Vinegar Syndrome. Vinegar Syndrome is a really cool company that helps save almost lost cinema from being either too deteriorated with their original negatives, or lost to time and space just due to like moving around, or fires, or mismanagement of tapes, or public domain. So they do a wonderful job getting some like stuff put out into physical media, sometimes for the first time ever. One of them being one of my favorite memes. One of my favorite meme templates from way back in the day was the can we have X? No, we have X at home, and then X at home is like awful. We have Alfred Hitchcock at home, Birds 2, Land's End. For some odd reason, we had this taped when I was a kid, and I always thought this was the original Birds. I was very wrong when I got into college and realized They're regular birds. This was Universal's first straight-to home media slash made-for-TV film. Not made for home media. First straight-to television film. Made-for-TV film. Probably going off the coattails of Stephen King's works. But this movie is really, really fun. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not great. It's fun. And then we have Wacko, which is a kind of a gumshoe detective film about the lawnmower massacre. Am I saying that right? Lawnmower killer kills people at the Halloween pumpkin prom. Of course, it's got to be the prom. It's got to be in October. And somebody gets out from an insane asylum and is going to repeat their actions from years back. So the detective has to kind of stop them. So it's going to be a fun time. Next up, we have the AGFA, which is the American Genre Film Association. They're linked loosely with Vinegar Syndrome and Something Weird to put out, a lot of these things. We have their horror trailer show, which is a really great, hour and 20-minute compilation of drive-in horror trailers. And they show some of the weirdest stuff that I don't even know how it got made into films. And they actually show a lot of old... let's go down to the lobby, adverts, I guess you'd call them. Just showing that they sell hot dogs and popcorn and and those are really fun to watch too. I'm a sucker for old commercials. I'm a sucker for old horror trailers. So I watch this immediately and it's a good one. Trust. And then Blind Buy. This was from the archives as well as the trailer show. $30 for the two. Gave me a discount on Betty Blue, which I don't know a whole lot about, sadly. It looks to be a really good, French erotica film. Comments down below if you've seen Betty Blue, and maybe I need to do a little bit more research on it, but, this is Spine 1002, so there's one before Betty Blue, and then you got the big Godzilla big box, so anything that follows Godzilla is gotta have some good potential. And then also while we were there, we met two of my horror movie / horror film influences of all time. The two ladies that helped shape my taste in horror and have still given me, goosebumps and chills down my spine ever since I was 10 years old. We have Kyra Schoen, custom-made trowel, autographed, and we got to meet Kyra, who plays Karen Cooper in the film. In my personal opinion, probably the coolest and most iconic, picture in horror cinema, in my personal opinion. So I got this from her booth, really, really awesome. And fun fact, she actually never acted after that film. She did not pursue acting, so that's her one big acting credit, and it's being probably one of the scariest little kids in the 1960s. And then next to her booth was her friend and co-worker at during that era, Miss Judith O'Day, who plays Barbara in the film. And she signed the Night of the Living Dead graphic novel from the special edition FYE exclusive Phantom Events Criterion Collection Night of the Living Dead 50th Anniversary Big Box. I ended up buying that special edition from Cinema Sickness Dave over at Cinema Sickness. He's cleaning out some of his collection, and I wanted a sealed copy. Unfortunately, it had a rip in it during shipping. Not the biggest deal in the world because now I get to read the book. And I wanted to bring something that was licensed, or if it was something that had Night of the Living Dead on it, I wanted something that was licensed. And unfortunately, that film is public domain, and they're just now starting to get paid royalties from it. And I did have, this older, what is this? This is the Excelsior Collector's Edition from Hollywood. It's Hollywood Classics, which has Judith O'Day running right there in the white. She's running away off camera. Or even a different thing, one of these VHS tapes I have. I have a whole bunch of, I collect Night of the Living Dead variants. And I wanted to get one of those signed, but I was like, you know what? They didn't get paid to put that one out. So this, she did get paid for the event. So I'm very excited that, it was something that she was a part of in a way. So that was cool. So next up, I I went Criterion shopping in July, and then on eBay, and then I'm getting ready for November, because November is 50% off Criterion, and maybe Arrow again. Arrow was popping off at Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble usually will do 2 times a year a Criterion sale, and that's the time when cinemaphiles buy. So I took advantage of the sale, and I ended up picking up some as well. We've got this first batch, which, this was the July batch. Ended up picking up a couple. The first one was A Brief History of Time, a documentary about space with Stephen Hawking and Errol Morris. Very excited to kind of watch that one. You know, my wife's big into science and space, hence why we named our dog Newton, or Noodle, if you've heard of him. Noodle, just because he did the noodle dance from PB&J Otter, but he's named after Sir Isaac Newton. So there's that. We have one of my favorite noir films, Double Indemnity, a Billy Wilder joint. Billy Wilder, also famous for It's a Mad, Mad World, and Sunset Boulevard, which Sunset Boulevard needs to get a Criterion release. I feel like there's a lot of really cool video essays on that film, but really great film. And actually, to be honest, I was thinking about this the other day. This is one of the first big noir films that uses white-collar crime versus blue-collar crime, like theft. Like, blue-collar crime, in my mind, is like murder, theft, but this is insurance fraud. So it's kind of, it's not your normal everyday crime, but, still very interesting. We have To Be or Not to Be, which is a screwball comedy set in 1942, or shot in 1942, about the Third Reich. And these playwrights and theater actors and actresses end up having to save people in a kind of a mistaken identity example. And I am out of focus, and my thing doesn't want to work, so I'm going to scooch in a little bit closer. It's a mistaken identity film, which is great. That's just how The Great Dictator was during that time, and that's one of my favorite Chaplin films is The Great Dictator. So this was a nice little treat to kind of get into the comedic spirit of the 40s and like seeing what they can, they're gonna poke fun at. Next up, we have Bong Joon-ho, the same director from Parasite, with Okja. This is the 4K release. This used to be a Netflix exclusive, but then got published out by Criterion. Really cool. Like, you have these mythical beasts, right? Mia, not her, but here. That a lot of companies want to utilize their food, like, as a food source, and they want to make millions and millions and millions of dollars off them, and there's groups of people that want to save them. And it's a really kind of, like, from what I understand, it's a really touching film. But it's got a lot of action in it, too, so that should be a fun watch. Next up, we have Pink Flamingos. And speaking of gimmicks, we have Divine on the front cover. Not a gimmick. But we have the barf bag, which is pretty cool. Pink Flamingos. If you know, you know. If you don't know, Google it in incognito mode. Pink Flamingos is basically about a group of people who are known as the worst people in America, and they are challenged by another group of people who claim to be the worst people in America. And there's some stuff that happens in the film. A lot of it's funny, and a lot of it's gross. So take that with what you will. Next up, I did miss something. I did miss a VHS pickup. We have the special edition of Video Violence. Now, this is a reproduction convention tape of both versions. With the T-shirt, it says "I'm a lifer," and it has a bunch of extras. There's the DVD version. There's some pins and buttons. But you got both volumes 1 and 2 on VHS, which is cool. The premise behind this film is really, really interesting. It basically shows like how people are super excited on Fridays to watch depravity in horror films, that they bum rush the rental stores, and then sometime during like the movement of these like new people, they're trying to figure out why people are stoked on this, and they end up renting something that was a snuff film by accident, because like people were putting real brutality in the VHS slots, bringing them back and making sure they're rewound too. And the town is like the entity is the bad person in the film. And it's a really interesting concept. I just don't know if it's done in the best way possible. So it's going to be one I'm going to watch, especially with it having like the director's cut on DVD. So I'm going to definitely check that out. But I might do a review on it. So, subscribe for future weird VHS reviews. But yeah, next up we have a kind of a mishmash, smorgasbord, if you will, of Criterions. I'm going to kind of speed run through these pretty quickly just because I don't want this video to be 30 minutes. I've shot this like 4 or 5 times. It's always been over 30 minutes, so let's see what happens. But these were all less than $15 a piece, which is like the sweet spot with used Criterion. But it's still great to get them like even cheaper. So, if you find them for really, really cheap, sometimes I just go. But normally I like to research. I like to make sure I'm getting something that I want to enjoy if I'm spending the money on it. But sometimes these deals were just too good to pass up, especially the last deal I'm going to go through. It breaks down to like $11 DVD. So I'm like, or Blu-ray, I should say. So even better. We have Terry Zigloff's Crumb. This is a biopic about Robert Crumb, who has done comic strips from like the 40s to the 60s, going into the 70s. And he was famous for doing Fritz the Cat, in my opinion. And Ralph Bakshi and him did not have a good relationship during the process of making the animated film Fritz the Cat, which I love. He hated it. So I love documentaries and biopics about artists, whether they be music or, just any type of artist. So had to grab that. The Man Who Knew Too Much. This is the 1934 Hitchcock version. Don't know much about it, sadly. It kind of got this like overpassed like when I was looking at Hitchcock films over the years. So I'm very excited to actually check this one out. And it looks like a really cool espionage film. And it's only 75 minutes, so it'll be a nice, like, I'm too tired to watch a movie, but I have enough energy to get through just over an hour. So this might be a nice watch after Halloween. I'm not going to say the French version because I don't know how to speak French, but we have The Beauty and the Beast, the 1946 version, not to be mislabeled as the Emma Watson version of Beauty and the Beast. This is the OG. And if you are looking to study film and the early ways of editing and camera trickery, definitely give this a watch or check out some YouTube videos about it. I'd probably actually do both. They do some really great camera techniques in this film, so definitely check that out. One film that I'm actually very excited to watch for Halloween because it's a great mood setter is Rebecca, a Alfred Hitchcock 1940 film about a young woman who marries a rather rich man, and the housekeeper or the master of has this big infatuation over the young man's ex-wife, or now dead wife, and it's very, very creepy. Miss Danvers is just it's creepy thinking about it. We have Brazil, a Terry Gilliam kind of like 1984 style science fiction movie. Don't know much about it, but gentleman was selling it. I had a bunch of these, and I said, or a bunch of Criterions. I said, would you do a bundle deal? And he said, sure. What are you looking at? Shot him the list I wanted, and I couldn't refuse it. And then one that I'm very excited I picked up because I love a good 50s comedy is The Girl Can't Help It. Girl Can't Help It. Girl Can't Help It. Great soundtrack. Has some of the best 40s and 50s bands such as Little Richard. You might know him as the man Rub Ducky. We got Fats Domino, the man who made Domino Pizza. We have Julie London, a.k.a. London, England. No, I'm just kidding. Gene Vincent, you got the Platters slap. And then Eddie Cochran and Jane Mansfield. Babe. So, great music, babes, and comedy. You can't beat it. And it's really funny. So that's great. And then lastly, this is a great pickup. This is a really kind of a good, like, collecting 101 is don't be afraid to ask questions, because This is a lot of 8 Arrow and Criterion films. 5 Criterion, 3 Arrow. And it was at auction, $100 starting bid. Didn't get the starting bid. And I had liked the item, and I, went back and I messaged him, saying, hey, do you still happen to have that bundle of 8 Blu-rays? And the gentleman came back a couple hours later, said, yeah, I do. Kind of bummed I didn't sell it. If you're interested, I'd do $80 shipped. I didn't even make an offer. He shot out the offer. And I did a little bit of math, and there was a couple films in here that I wasn't too sure I wanted, but the deal was too good to, like, not pass up on. Like, if it was up to me, I would, or if, like, earlier I would have been like, well, if you want 100, can you do 80 and take out these 3 films or these, like, 2 or 3 films, and I would have done it. But the fact that he said 80 for all, I said, let's bag it up. And like I said, some of these films I am not familiar with, and I apologize if I seem pretty ignorant about it. I'm dropping everything. But if you have seen some of these films, please leave a comment down below and let me know if they're good or not. And staying on the topic of biopics as well as good music films, we have the slipcover for it because it's right here. Hard Day's Night, film I've seen back in the day. I had a bunch of friends that were big into the Beatles and like 60s and 50s music films like Gimme Shelter, the true story about Dewey Cox, Walk Hard, Yellow Submarine. So, this was in play. We have Cage Musha, which is a Kurosawa, like late Kurosawa film from 1980. We have our 3 Arrow films. We have Flash, Gordon. Really, really excited to watch this. This is gonna go on my maybe shelf because, like, I want to watch this, but like, it's one of those things. Like, I'm never in the mood to watch Flash Gordon, but I think, like, if it's there, I'll be like, I'm gonna watch Flash Gordon. So, it's one of those things. This I've passed up on so many times. I'm glad I actually have it in my collection now. This is Brain Damage. This is like a body horror comedy, buddy comedy film. This like weird entity thing like feeds off of people's blood, and he gets attached to this person and they become friends. Really, really strange. But I'm very excited about this. And the person that sold to me said that's his favorite film out of that bundle. So I'm actually pretty excited. Last Arrow film is Hellraiser. I don't have any Hellraiser in my collection. That's kind of weird. So, classic. Gonna be watching it during Halloween. We have Seventh Seal. This is one that I'm definitely gonna keep in my collection. Little Ingmar Bergman film. Really short too, 97 minutes. But I see this in a lot of people's like collections. It's gotta be good. Reading the synopsis, it looks wonderful. So I'm gonna watch this definitely. These are the 2 that I was kind of skeptical on. We have Topsy Turvy and Clune. I know Topsy Turvy is like an opera comedy. I know 0 about this film, unfortunately, Clune. But if you have seen them, let me know. I want to hear about them. And that's going to do it for this video. Overall, really great pickups. And like I said, I'm glad I'm back making content for y'all. So hopefully you guys are too and enjoying it. Stick around for October. I'm going to be putting out some good stuff, some horror movie recommendations, maybe some tier lists. I do a live stream tier list about some of my favorite horror films to watch during this time, and some other just horror related stuff as well. So subscribe if you like this type of stuff, and like it if you enjoyed it, and let me know down below what you thought of the pickups. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.